We're at the beginning of the fifth section now, the fifth section of the Yoga Vasishta, which is the section dealing with dissolution, upasama, prakaranam. Before this we had the section dealing with existence, and before that the section dealing with creation. So we've got creation, existence and dissolution. And it seems like a grand vista that's been put before us. We can understand it in two ways, as this grand vista on a macrocosmic scale, or what we might call an exoteric understanding. Or we can understand it within the microcosm, within our own psyche, what we might call the esoteric understanding. And dissolution, on the exoteric sense, refers to the end of the universe. On an esoteric sense, it refers to the end of notions concerning the appearance of an external world. And the Yoga Vasishta flips between these two ways of understanding, or let's say puts different emphasis at times. One emphasis is clearly exoteric, concerned with the metaphysical, with the prevailing understanding in terms of the Hindu context. And sometimes it's talking more universally to the nature, referring to the nature of our own consciousness. So section 5 begins with Valmiki talking, Valmiki being the reputed author of the Yoga Vasishta. Valmiki said, "The people, including the gods, demigods and sages and the members of the royal court, listened to sage Vasishta's words of wisdom with total attention. The Emperor Dasaratha and his ministers had for the time being abandoned their royal preoccupations and pleasures, intent on absorbing the teachings of the sage. At noon, the conscious gave the time signal and the assembly rose for the midday interval. In the evening, the congregation was given leave to retire for the day, and as the kings and the princes rose to leave the court, their dazzling ornaments illumined it. The court itself appeared to be a miniature universe. When the assembly had thus dispersed, the king Dasaratha duly worshipped the sages and received their blessings. After this, Vasishta gave leave to the princes, Rama and his brothers, to retire for the day. They too fell at the sage's feet and received his blessings. When night fell, all except Rama retired to bed, but Rama could not sleep." There's a lot going on in Rama's head. Ram contemplated the illuminating words of the sage Vasishta thus: "What is this world appearance? Who are all these different kinds of people and other beings? How do they appear here? From where do they come and where do they go? What is the nature of the mind, and how does it attain quiescence? How does this Maya, cosmic illusion, arise in the first place, and how does it come to an end? Again, is such an end to this illusion desirable or undesirable? How has limitation entered into the infinite self?" So two interesting questions there. Is such an end to this illusion desirable or undesirable? I think, if we were perfectly honest, the thought of it coming to an end would completely freak most people out. There's absolutely no reason why they should want to follow this teaching. And the other question is, how has limitation entered into the infinite self? And this is a question which Ram frequently asks in one form or another. If everything is the infinite Brahman, how can we get caught up in notions of a finite world characterized by sorrow? What exactly are the means that the sage Vasishta has prescribed for the conquest of the senses and the mind? They are surely the sources of sorrow. Getting caught up in our notions, through notions of sensory objects, we develop cravings, and this is the source of sorrow. It is impossible to abandon enjoyment of pleasure, and it is not possible to end sorrow without abandoning such enjoyment. This indeed is a problem. But since the mind is the crucial factor in all this, surely if the mind once tastes the supreme peace, freed of all world illusion, it will not abandon that and run after sense pleasure. Oh, when will my mind be pure, and when will it rest in the Supreme Being? When will my mind rest in the infinite, even as a wave is reabsorbed in the ocean? When will I be free of all craving? When will I be blessed with equal vision? When will I be rid of this terrible fever of worldliness? O mind, will you really remain firmly established in the wisdom revealed by the great sages? O my intellect, you are my friend. Contemplate the teachings of sage Vasishta in such a way that we shall both be saved from the miseries of this worldly existence. So Rama's undergoing change. He's on the brink of his own liberation. In some ways his mind is going for it, but there's also resistance there as well. And it represents basically the conflict that anybody that is engaged in some kind of spiritual inquiry must undergo. So in a way that's quite reassuring, because Ram is the great hero, the great god of Hinduism.